On the form of his second start, he was 5th of 7 in that race at Chester, and he was never really competitive. There could be better to come now that he switches to nurseries, but David O'Mara's not been having much of a season with his nursery debutants. Very few of them have made an impact.
Seen a little bit of money for the 9, Rainbow Jazz, who's had plenty of experience. You can look at that as experience of being exposed, 0 from 7, and one that we saw in the paddock, and we were chatting about it, a couple of the placed efforts this season.
Well, he's got a run here when he ran against Storm Jazz. Ran against He's Our Star, and that piece of form gives the two of them a similar sort of chance. I just wondered that Rainbow Jazz might settle better in this race. Sort of failed to settle last time under Nicola Curry, but in a bigger field, possible that he might get a bit more cover. Yeah,
he was keeping on well enough that day, I thought, and Nicola Curry on board once again. And then you've got double figure odds, Strategic, the 6th horse returns following 2 months break, has been gelded and dropped a couple of pounds from his handicap debut as well.
Which something was expected of him that day, but he didn't perform. He's a horse who, he's looked iffy in all his races, to be honest, and gelding needs to have made quite a significant impact on him and the break as well to see him winning.
We were looking at Fox Rush Take Time in the paddock, and you thought he was another interesting runner in the field. He's had 6 goes now, and at Foss Lass he was really well fancied to win that day.
He was. He's been placed in nurseries on his last 3 starts. If they do go a decent pace, then he could step up, but I think others have got more potential to improve. One I did quickly want to mention, Black Looks, that we didn't see in the paddock. He's shown a little bit so far, but his pedigree suggests he should be capable of better.
And quite a big price here in our second race. So we're 6 to 1 the field, and they're loading very quickly, so we can get across. And I think we've got an opportunity to say good afternoon to John Hunt.
To load, including the last time out winner Dark Blue, the only one in the field to have won last time. We're waiting now on Affluence to pop forward, and Gabriel Centurion, and that should leave just 4 more to load up in behind. Dark Blue is one of them in next, and then comes Royal Liberty, leaving a pair of them. Black Looks out the back together with Felisa. Don't know if you caught Felisa going to post, Rachel, but she was very much a handful, very free under Fran Berry going to post. Let's see how she gets on now. Just Black Looks now to complete the lineup. Stall 8, drawn right in the middle. This is the Haymarket Nursery, over 7 furlongs. And Black Looks forward and in. We are set to race. And they're off and racing. So jumping away, Robinson Crusoe was not best away towards the far side, where away nice was Storm Jazz in the orange cap ahead of Strategic and Kerbeck, all those towards the far side of the group. Meanwhile, Shadow Seeker is in the middle of the group, showing up well together with Black Looks, and stand side is Felisa, who's leading there together with He's Our Star, and just in behind those as well is Tulane. Buried away, Gabriel Centurion. Affluence is also buried away. Strategic is just struggling a little bit to hold position. Mid-division then for Royal Liberty next to Tulane. Back markers include Robinson Crusoe, who is slow to get going, will need to warm to the task. Rosedale topping at the back end of the field as well, with Fox Rush Take Time in those change of colours now, the green with the white star, but that one's one of the back markers early. Mountain Meadow also races towards the rear, and Dark Blue is probably last of all with just 2 furlongs now left to race. Shadow Seeker showing up well here together with Kerbeck over on the far side. Still Felisa in behind those together with Rainbow Jazz, who's got every chance. Gabriel Centurion, Strategic, trying to make a run of things just in behind them as well. Switched is Robinson Crusoe to the stand side with no immediate effect in behind Black Looks at the moment as they go for the line now. Rainbow Jazz is out in front from Kerbeck. The one down the near side is Black Looks, finishing off very strongly, wandering off a true line, but Black Looks getting on top late on. Black Looks got up to win narrowly but snugly from Rainbow Jazz. In behind those was Kerbeck, and then Felisa slightly further back.
First, number 10, Black Looks.
Big prize winner, Black Looks at 20-1, and a good old battle in behind with Rainbow Jazz and Kerbeck. But one that you mentioned late on there, and it came through very strongly in the final few strides.
That was an odd old race. For a long way I thought Rainbow Jazz in the centre was in control of things, despite the idea I thought they might want cover. In the front line all the way, keen early on, but saw the race out well. Looks like he's seeing off all the opponents on his side, and suddenly Black Looks gets going towards the stand side. He's got an interesting way of running, but it's certainly propelling him forward. In about sixth place we had Robinson Crusoe, the favourite, who ran a really odd race.
Yes, and I think probably not getting into the ideal position early, just sort of dwelt from the stalls and just was on the back foot, it seemed. But it seemed like all the action also on the far side, the way it panned out. But this is a horse who's won his handicap debut today, but really he's actually won it quite easily the way he's travelled.
Well, just looking at where he is, he's handy behind the pace in the centre initially. The eventual runner-up, Rainbow Jazz, is well to the fore, so too is Kerbeck. Looking for Felisa, that one's in the front line as well, so the second, third and fourth are always pretty handy to the pace. The winner has chased them, but is going to lose position and switch, and also looking for Robinson Crusoe right out the back. He's been travelling awkwardly almost from the off, switches over to the stand side, and he just gets going a bit too late.
There'd be almost a suspicion for me that he's not an ideal horse here at Leicester. He struggled early, downhill, and he's just a big horse. I'm not too sure he's coped with the track at all, the favourite, to be honest.
No, I think that's fair to say, and I'd definitely be interested in him again. Strategic doesn't look to have improved his attitude for gelding. Look at that horrible head carriage there in behind. Gabriel's Centurion has made quite an encouraging start in nurseries. There's something to work on there.
Yeah, he's a horse that had been fairly well fancied, but likely to come on for David O'Mara. Daniel Tudhope on board today. So found right across the track. Anything else that caught your eye in the closing stage, David?
Quite a lot going. Just looking at the winner, who's, I mean, it's partly he switched, but then he hangs, and he is racing awkwardly, but he is...
He's almost jinking, isn't he?
Well, he jinked when he got hit with the whip there, and but he's quickening at the same time. So there's clearly untapped ability still in there. There's more to come with him, and he hasn't won by that far in the end, so the handicapper's not going to be overly punishing with regard to his new mark.
I think with him visually towards the line, it looked like he'd done it very, very comfortably, but when you look at the head-on, he looks like a very, very tricky horse to ride. So we'll try and catch a word with the winning rider, David Nolan, because he's brought him through, and he seems to just be almost overreacting to this stick there. He certainly jinxed. So let's take a look at the head-on again.
Yes, I mean, he was in behind the other horses that are involved at this stage of the race, but perhaps just looking initially to get a run around them, but as he comes across he starts to hang himself, and when he's hit with the whip in the right hand, he continues to hang, and he will jink sharply when he's hit with the whip next. So clearly he's not very favourably disposed to being hit with the whip, which
no.
one can understand.
In the end, it was